Do you have never-ending projects? Can't seem to finish things on your to-do list? Don't seem to be progressing with your workload? Well, I'm going to share with you one simple change I made that helped me to finally finish projects and things on my to-do list that I thought I would never see the end of. There was a point where I feel like I just never ended up finishing anything on my to-do list, and I went through this constant cycle of having things on my to-do list and like gradually on a daily basis moving them to the next day, and then whatever was left there I'd move that to the next day. So I never actually felt like I'd get it finished, and it wasn't because I found it difficult to finish those tasks. It was because I just always felt like there was never enough time in the day. And surprisingly, when I finally made the change that I'm going to be talking about, it's only then that I realized why I couldn't finish anything. So I started doing a bit of research, and all of that stemmed from using my productivity planner from Intelligent Thinking. Now, it isn't just this book that helped me to make that change. It's something that kind of pushed me in that direction because of a certain technique that they talk about in the book. And I ended up researching the Pomodoro technique. It's something that completely changed the way that I work, and I'm now starting to tick things off my list and find that I'm not actually moving things over to the next day. I'm actually finishing projects I never thought I would finish. I genuinely feel like this technique is going to help you, whether you struggle with productivity or you just always feel like you're never finishing the things on your to-do list. But the great thing about this is you can tailor it around what works for you. It's not just a random technique that you have to do exactly as it says. You mold it to yourself, and it works best when you change it and adapt it to yourself. So I'm not just going to talk to you about what the Pomodoro technique is. I'm going to talk to you about what this one technique is that I've adapted and changed to work well for me. The Pomodoro technique overall talks about using 25 minutes to focus on one particular task. And then once that 25 minutes is up, you can give yourself a bit of a break, and then you move on to another 25 minutes, whether it's on that same task or whether you finished it and you move on to the next task. So I'm going to explain exactly how I've changed things around and made it work for me. I genuinely didn't think that this was going to work for me because I thought it's such a simple change. How is this going to make such a drastic change? So I didn't give it a chance initially, but then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to give it a go. Oh my God, I could not believe how much of a difference it made. And it actually just opened my eyes to all the things that were distracting me in the first place and stopping me from actually getting work done. And they're surprisingly very small things. I use my planner, and I love this planner, and this isn't about me selling this planner, but this is a planner that really helps me to kind of like just generally plan my day. I get my to-do list and I prioritize it, and that book actually helps you to do that. So that Intelligent Thinking planner, the productivity planner, really helps you to understand what priority certain things are at on your to-do list. And it helps you with the kind of prompts that it gives you. So it's not just saying to you, what's the highest priority, what's the second priority, what's the third priority. It's actually like titled in a sense of what is the most important thing you have to get done today. And you write that from your to-do list. And then the second one is your additional tasks that you want to get done today, but you only do them once you finish that first one. Granted, there may be a priority task such as a project that will take several days. What I usually do is set aside a certain amount of time for that, knowing that I'm only going to work on that project for this amount of time. So that means I can still get those other additional tasks done. The planner helps you to kind of prioritize your to-do list. So you write down everything that you need to get done in order of priority. And then what you also do is you write down how long you think it's going to take you to do that task. Now, the way that the productivity planner helps you to figure this out is it allows you to set a certain timer. So it says that you can pick 25 minutes, and the Pomodoro technique generally says 25 minutes too. So you basically set yourself a timer of 25 minutes, and then you work solid on that one task. No distractions, nothing. And the way that this helped me was that I used my timer on my phone. I turned all my notifications off. I turned it on airplane mode so that there was no distractions. I turned my notifications off my laptop so that nothing would pop up while I'm working. And because I do work with my husband a lot, I did also kind of like let him know that, listen, I'm currently trying this out at the moment, so I'm just letting you know that I'm putting a timer on. I'm going to be like pretty busy for the next 30 minutes. I've rounded it up to 30. It just feels like it's kind of just easier to work that way. And my break time after that, I set at around 5 minutes. This doesn't have to be 5 minutes. You can kind of like pick whatever time you want. If you want 10 minutes, fine. If you want 15 minutes, it's fine. So what I did was basically say, okay, this first task is going to take me, I think, around 3 sessions. Now, one session equals 30 minutes. So I would put in 3. And each time that timer went off, so after 30 minutes, I would kind of like fill in the little circle, and that would mean one session is done. Then I would head over to having a break, and then I would do the next session, which is another 30 minutes, and however long it takes me, we'll see at the end of it. Or I decide that that's enough for today, and I move on to the next task once I've kind of like spent my allocated amount of time on that project. What I realized was the amount of little distractions that used to stop me from doing my work. I didn't only have the problem of not being able to get things finished, I also had a problem of starting a task or project, and before I have even finished it, like while I'm still actually working on that task and haven't decided to stop yet, I would randomly just start another task. And it's because I got distracted by something like a notification, or someone would come in the room, or my phone would ring, or something would happen, and I would just end up looking at other stuff and then starting something else. And before I knew it, I was doing 2-3 different things at the same time, and it was just ridiculous. And I wasn't actually being productive at all. Even though it felt like I was working all day, I felt like I wasn't getting as much as I could have got done. What I realized is that notifications were really disturbing me and causing my mind to kind of like go off track and start on something else, or I'd just start aimlessly scrolling at something, or if I got sent a message, it would just end up on a completely different topic, and it was really frustrating for me. And it started to get to the point where I just felt like, how am I ever going to get ahead of any of these projects that I've got lined up, or like ideas that I have of like progression, growth, and expanding my business? And this technique has really, really helped me. I put my timer on for 30 minutes. And I know that you can still end up getting disturbed. Like if someone comes into the room, like if my husband comes into the room and wants to talk to me about something, I'm not going to be like, I can't talk, I'm busy, I'm doing this. So what I tend to do is just pause the timer. And that way I feel like I'm pausing the timer because I'm actually taking a step away from that focus time, and I need those 30 minutes to really focus on this work. So if it means that I have to stop and talk to someone, then I will press pause on my timer. And what that means is you've pressed pause because you're going away from your focus task and you're talking to someone. Once you've got that done, you know that you're not really going to end up doing something else because you are so aware that you've pressed pause on your phone. Plus it's a timer, so it's like, it's quite obvious it's on your phone. When you have a timer on, it usually just displays even when your phone is locked. So it's kind of something which weirdly makes you stick to it. And it really made me realize how many little things were stopping me from actually getting things done. So now I actually really look forward to the time where I'm sitting down and I'm actually getting my focus time in and really kind of using this technique that I've adapted to myself so that I can get ahead of projects. And it's the first time in so long that I feel like I'm actually ticking things off my to-do list and getting ahead of things, and I'm finishing projects that I just didn't think I would end up finishing. It just felt like it took forever. Now, what I would say is you want to make sure that you don't go OTT with this process. Like, for example, if you are working on a project and you want to set aside the entire day for it, then I would suggest kind of maybe increasing your amount of focus time each time, because 30 minutes doing that over and over again throughout the entire day can just be, it's a bit constant. So I do feel like if I'm only working on one thing during the day and I want to use this technique to ensure that my mind doesn't go off track, then I usually kind of increase the timer. So I set it at like 45 minutes or even 60 minutes, and then have a longer break in between. So you can kind of change it accordingly, like what suits you, what suits whatever it is that you're working on today. If you've got like 3-4 different tasks that you're working on today, then I would keep them at 30 minutes or 25 minutes, whatever works for you, because you can have like 3 to 4 focus sessions. And again, that focus session means 30 minutes, and have those 3 to 4 sessions for that one task, knowing that that's roughly the amount of time that you're either going to need for it or that you are planning to spend on that today. Because like I said, there'll be projects that maybe require a good week or so to finish. So I would spread that kind of out so that you're not overwhelming yourself with like these 30-minute slots when really you're working on the same thing progressively through the day. So just change it according to the type of task that you're working on. But ultimately, I just wanted to share with you what it is that worked for me and how I've adapted it for myself. It's made me more productive and the quality of my work is better, and I actually feel like I'm getting ahead of work for the first time in ages. And it's really difficult, I think, when you run, your own business and you have several different things that you're doing. Sometimes it can be difficult difficult because especially if you are a very small, like lean team and you don't necessarily have someone working on every kind of department and you're doing a lot of it yourself, it can be quite overwhelming because you don't know when you're going to have time to work on something to, like I said, expand the business, but at the same time get all of the everyday kind of like things done that you need to get done to keep your business running. So I do feel like a technique like this and adapting it to the way that it would work better for you or to your lifestyle is a great way to kind of just almost streamline your work and have more of a kind of neater approach to work. And it almost kind of like organizes your mind as well, because everything can be all over the place, especially when you are a creative like me. So it's really important to kind of like have something which is just easy for you to follow so that you can get things done. So hopefully this has helped you in some way. It's a technique that honestly I would highly recommend if you struggle with productivity and you feel like you just don't have enough hours in the day. I totally understand how that feels, and this has really helped me, and hopefully it's really going to help you too. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments box below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care, and I'll see you soon.